Hello people, Ben here. Hey, in this series, pro tip, we're talking about the one thing that can make all of us better at everything, and that's wisdom. And having a good reputation definitely fits into the wisdom category. However, there are a lot of things that make this somewhat of a complicated idea. For example, think about LeBron James, okay? He's known as one of the greatest basketball players ever to live. He's one of the top 10 most famous people on planet Earth, and yet some people love him and some people hate him. Some would describe LeBron as the GOAT. Don't hate me, all you MJ fans, that's Michael Jordan, not Michael Jackson, if you're wondering. And yet, LeBron is someone who's even more impressive off the court. They say he's a great husband to his high school sweetheart, a dedicated father, someone who gives back to his community. He started his own school, for goodness sake, and he's a leader for change and equality in our country. Others would say he's overrated, he loves drama, he draws way too much attention to himself. See, the very things that make LeBron likable to some draws attack from others. Now, what's the reason you and I know his name or have an opinion at all about LeBron? Well, think about it. At 18, he didn't just step on the court for the first time and become better than everybody else overnight. It's because of 1,000 little decisions we can assume that he made to work hard, to develop his talents, and prioritize his character. Those decisions don't make SportsCenter's top 10, but they're the reason we know and celebrate all our favorite pros in any field at all. Now, the reality is, you can't control what other people think of you. As we unpack, as we talk about reputation and integrity today, you might go, but I'm proud of not caring about what other people think about me. We're not talking about your ability to be unique. We're all for that. Be who you are, bro, okay? We're talking about how, as people who follow Jesus, on some level, our lives are not just about us. Our decisions matter because other people matter. We're living for more than just ourselves. But look, even if we have the best intention, we still don't have control. I mean, you have the best of intentions to do things the right way, but what if people try to make the decision about who you are for you? Maybe you made a mistake in the past that you're not proud of. You did something that you regret. We've been there, I've been there. Or you were just in the wrong place at the wrong time and you got busted, you got exposed. And now it's like people identify your reputation with that one single event. Again, I've been there. Maybe someone spread false lies about you. I don't know why people do this, okay? It's sad, it really is, but it happens from time to time. Maybe someone started a rumor about you, and now, hey, that's just a part of your reputation. It can be so frustrating when someone else makes a decision about your reputation for you. I get it. Now, when it comes to your world, isn't it true that there are some people who are more popular because of their unwise decisions? And on top of all that, having that reputation ends up giving them a whole lot of influence. On the other hand, have you seen how good reputations can make people, I don't know, less cool? Like way back in the day when I was in high school, people with great reputations had nicknames. People would call them stupid things like teacher's pet or goody two-shoes, whatever in the world that means. I don't know where goody two-shoes came from, but it certainly didn't help people with those nicknames. It's not a nickname you like, okay? For others of you, you manage a different reputation with adults than maybe you do with your friends. You may want the adults in your life to think, man, you're the good guy, you're the good girl, and your friends to think, man, you're rebellious, or maybe even vice versa. See, I told you, all of this, it can be like complicated. But no matter what you think or don't think about reputations, what we're talking about today will help you see yours and everybody else's more clearly than ever before. Okay, now listen. Even though the Bible is like an ancient text, like it's old, it has a whole lot of great advice about a lot of areas of life right now. In fact, even if you don't believe in God or the Bible and you don't do all the church Jesus stuff, some of the advice and wisdom found there could still be really helpful to you, I absolutely promise, okay? Now, one of the books where we see a lot of that wisdom is a book called Proverbs. It's full of these like amazing bite-sized pieces of truth and insight that can make all of us better at life. And I know that every one of us eventually, ultimately wants to be better at life. If we're honest, we want to be more compassionate or more thoughtful, more kind, more loving, more careful with our choices. When we see those traits, hey, we're reminded of what God is like. Well, the book of Proverbs that we're looking at in this series is a book of wisdom. It's not a book of promises, it's a book of principles, meaning it's time-tested wisdom that when you apply it to your life, and I apply it to mine, we can almost predict the outcome. So with that in mind, let's look at another pro tip from this book of wisdom. This is verse 9. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, but he who makes his ways crooked will be found out. So when you're intentional about making the right decisions on a daily basis, you're secure. That is basically what integrity is, which is being the same person in front of people as you are when you're by yourself. When you have integrity, you can have peace in challenging situations regardless of the outcome. You're not worried about somebody catching you or busting you or what people are going to say about you or when everyone will find out about the real you. However, on the other hand, the alternative is to make decisions that are crooked, to do something to get ahead or to do something just to be liked by others that you know will possibly catch up to you in the long run. The bummer about this route is that eventually it still hurts your reputation and you don't have peace. Now you've lost both integrity and influence. And that's why people, listen, choosing integrity, it's always better. It's the only way you might have both a good reputation and peace. So let's look at another verse, and it says this in Proverbs: a good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. A good name, that's just basically equal to a positive reputation. To be esteemed is equal to being respected. And according to this passage, it's a bigger deal than getting rich. But really? Really? Is it really that big of a deal? Are we supposed to just take this verse at face value and believe that it's true? Here's what I've seen to be true about reputation. Reputation, it really doesn't matter to us until we wish we had a different one, right? I'll give you a quick personal example. When I was a freshman in high school, I played baseball. Not varsity, not JV. I played on the freshman team, and I didn't go to a very big high school, so not very impressive. Everyone who tried out made it. So again, nothing impressive about it. And I'll admit, I didn't take freshman baseball too seriously. I was a jokester, I was a troublemaker. Most of it was harmless, although I'm sure I annoyed my coach to absolutely no end. Well, the next year, my sophomore year, I almost flunked out of school. No joke. I failed a bunch of classes and found myself academically ineligible to play baseball in the spring, which was disappointing because I had a goal of making the varsity team that year. I obviously didn't realize that grades affected that goal. I never made that connection. So I began the long journey, and I mean the long journey, of my academic comeback. Summer school, tutors, focus, studying, effort, all the things that I did not like. But by spring of my junior year, I was academically eligible to try out for the varsity baseball team. But this, friends, was no walk in the park. So remember that thing I said earlier about not caring about your reputation until you want a different one? This was that moment for me. I actually had a lot of them in my life, but this was one of them. My old freshman coach was now the varsity head coach, and all of those sophomores who made up the varsity team when I was a freshman were now seniors. And this was an intense group of guys who had played together since Little League. And it didn't take me long to figure out that while they liked me fine, none of them trusted me to help the team. All they had seen was the freshman jokester who didn't take anything seriously and the sophomore who was a no-show because he couldn't finish an assignment or study for a test. They had no idea how much I cared about playing varsity baseball. And at that point, I had a reputation. And suddenly, I cared about my reputation a whole lot. And not only did I have to perform to actually make the team, I had to win over a group of tough seniors. My past decisions built my current reputation. As a high school student, there are a lot of things you can't control. You can't control your schedule. You can't control all of your freedom. You can't control your curfew. You can't control how lonely it may feel if you choose to live differently than others and prioritize your character. But one thing you can control is your integrity. Think about it this way: the decisions no one sees build the reputation everyone remembers. We can make decisions that no one knows about today, right now, that lead us to having a reputation that everyone remembers later, and that's an amazing thing. But what can we actually do about our reputation? If it seems like something we can't control, what can we control? Well, we can control the decisions that create our reputation. Your decisions, those are the starting point. Your daily decisions, my daily decisions, to be honest, even when it costs us, to consider the needs of others, to work hard when Netflix is calling our name again, to get up a little earlier and open our Bibles. These daily decisions add up over time. And eventually people will notice a real change in you and a real change in me. So look, if you could be known for 2 or 3 things, what would they be? Okay, you don't have to know the answer right now, but I think it's worth taking some time to think about. And while you're thinking about it, take your peers, take your friends, take adults into consideration. Is it possible for you to be the same person around both groups and get the same result? Now, here's another thing. This week, choose one element of your integrity to start working on. Talk to a trusted friend, talk to a mentor, ask for help on that habit you want to change. Start reading Proverbs for additional wisdom. You probably already know the next step you need to take, whether someone sees you doing it or not. So don't wait another week. Take that step, take it today, take it this week. Now, maybe you're thinking, this would have been great to hear about 2 years ago, okay? But I'm already known for some pretty bad stuff. First, I'm sorry, I've been there. Figuring out you have a bad rep can be pretty painful, but the good news is you can start today with the decisions that you make, okay? A good reputation, a good name is about more than just high school and life after high school. It's about the kind of person you are and the kind of person I am. It's about who we choose to be. We won't just wake up a pro someday. We have to start becoming one today. So imagine if paying attention to our reputation is how we start. Imagine if choosing to have integrity is what leads to the life and reputation that we really, really want. This would make it worth it to pay attention to our decisions. Listen, even the decisions no one else sees, because here's the deal, and this is what we've been talking about. The decisions no one sees build the reputation that everyone else remembers.